Hi guys, it's Ben here from T-Rex Space Station. How's everyone doing? Welcome to another video. I'm going to show off some of the presents that I got for Christmas. I know I'm quite a few weeks on now, but I've not got around to doing it earlier. And also talk about a couple of other subjects. So firstly we'll get on to the Christmas pickups, or presents really. These aren't actually pickups, these are all gifts. First up is Pokemon Moon on the 3DS. I'm not going to go into that in any detail because I've already spoken a bit about it on my last video. Another 3DS game, Epic Mickey Power of Illusion, and well, you'll know I'm a big fan of the original Castle of Illusion game on the Mega Drive, which was a really superb game, and is also a good one on the Master System as well. And it was somebody who posted on one of my YouTube videos actually who alerted me to this. I didn't know that it existed, and I kind of missed it coming out. But this is a 3DS platform game that kind of goes back to the... in a way it harkens back to the original games. It's a lovely looking platformer with modern day graphics, but it features lots of the Disney universe characters, and it features similar sound effects and mechanics to the original Mega Drive game in terms of the noise it makes when you jump on people and a similar bouncing effect and all that kind of stuff. They've added in some new things like you discover the Disney characters and you take them back to a fortress, and you've got various different rooms and little quests to do. And it also uses a lot of a painting mechanic. I think this painting thing kind of came out from the Epic Mickey series. But you have the paint and the thinner, and you've got to paint things to kind of help with the platforming elements. So you may want to delete a falling block or paint in platforms and things like that, which works reasonably well. One nice thing about the game is it's quite challenging. It's not just a hold your hand babyish kind of Nintendo game. It actually goes back to, or it's probably even more difficult than the original games in the 16-bit era. It certainly seems like a game that's going to take me quite a while to figure out and get through. I don't think it's a massively long game, but certainly the challenge is there, which is always quite nice. I was really pleased to get this one. This is Super Mario Maker 3DS. Now when I heard this was coming out, I was amazed to see that, I don't have a Wii U, but to see that this was coming out on the 3DS. And so I immediately wanted it. And then as soon as I looked at some reviews and info about it, I was a little bit disappointed, because one of the fun, well, really the major selling point of the Wii U game is that you can go online and play other people's levels, and you can share your levels online. And for some reason they've completely snookered the sharing system for the 3DS version. So I don't know why Nintendo stick to these funny ideas, but you can only share it via Street Pass, so people you're passing in the street, or people directly in the room with the 3DS. There's no way of actually me seeing a level online and navigating to it on my system. So it kind of makes you feel like, am I going to bother designing any levels? It's a bit annoying. I mean, I will check it out, but I have no idea why they made that decision, and I kind of wish that they would just reverse it. One of the cool things about this version though is it does come with 100 levels designed by the Nintendo team, so you are kind of getting, in a way, a new Mario 2D platformer, because well, they're going to be professional quality levels there, and that 100 is quite a lot to get through. So, you know, even if it turns out that the level sharing and the level editing side of it's a bit spoiled, I'm still going to really enjoy it, playing through those 100 levels and maybe noodling around a little bit. PS4 games, I've not played any of these yet, so I can't tell you about them. The Last Guardian, which I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into. You know, on Twitter and Facebook, people are going nuts about this game, and it looks amazing. It's by the same team that did Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, I think. Two of the best games on the PS2, and one of those, Shadow of the Colossus, is one of my favourite games of all time. Some nice RPGs to keep me busy. Dragon Age Inquisition. I've not really been hugely into these games, but I'm not massively into my BioWare stuff, but this series does look very good, and I kind of wanted a nice big RPG to get stuck into at some point. I think these really focus on emphasizing the importance of choices and all that kind of thing. Big open world game. And another title I can't wait to play, Final Fantasy 15. It's the Day 1 edition. Amazing present from my mum. I just don't know which game to start first. I think I'm going to start The Last Guardian and then go on to this, because this is meant to be an absolutely epic game that's going to take 60 hours or more, and who has that kind of time these days? and also Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. So because I only just got my PS4 recently, I missed out on some of these titles when they came out, and I have to play the new Metal Gear Solid. I was a massive fan of the original game on the PS1. The PS2 ones I kind of liked, but they didn't really do it for me. It was really the PS1 game that I loved, but I've always kind of kept an eye on the series. I didn't have a PS3, so I've not played number 4, but the videos that I've seen of this just look like it really surpasses itself. And I think it's going to be an absolute treat. I think it's got more of an open approach to the missions from the videos that I've seen of it, but I've got a hell of a lot of games to get through there. I've decided that sometimes it's difficult to know, should you just play through one game or play through several at once. I've decided the best way to do it is to play one large sort of campaign difficult game. It's going to take a while, and one game that's a bit more of a sort of light relief. So what I've been doing is maybe combining the big RPGs with a platform game that I can get into a bit more easily. So I've played Pokemon Sun and Moon and then played something more simple like Journey, etc. So probably what I'll do now is play The Last Guardian and play Power of Illusion to give me that kind of breakup, because you can't just play a game, or at least I can't, my attention isn't there, just to play a massive campaign straight through. It's very rare that I'd manage to do that. Pokemon took me 36 hours to finish, and I needed to break it up here and there. Maybe that's because it's a more monotonous game compared to, say, something like Last Guardian. We'll see. So, other thing I wanted to talk about, obviously everybody's going crazy about the Nintendo Switch. I thought I might say a little bit about that. I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but I guess I got an opinion on it. For me, I think that I lucked out with a Nintendo Wii. It was a system that I took a gamble on. I could have probably chosen an Xbox 360 or a PS3 for my birthday, but I chose to ask for a Wii when I was 21. It's going back like 9 years now. Because my friend had it and I fancied seeing what Nintendo were up to. And for me, it was a system that for a while I regretted choosing, because I felt like the library and the catalogue were really limited. And over the years, though, it's become one of my favourite systems, and one of my favourite systems to collect for. And what was it that redeemed the Nintendo Wii to me? It really was the third-party support. I know that Nintendo's first-party franchises are good. Nobody could criticize you, for saying that. Everybody, all of us, love them. Mario Kart, Zelda, Metroid, these are great, amazing games. The question is whether those games are good enough to sell a system to you solely. For a lot of people whose YouTube videos I've watched, it is. They're happy just to buy it, to play Legend of Zelda on day one, play the new Mario Kart game or whatever, and the Smash and all of that, and then leave it there. For me, that's never been enough, and that is not a good enough reason to spend all the cash that this system's demanding. Just for a really small, limited number of games. That just isn't going to cut the mustard for me. It has to have more than just that. I think the point is that you can only take so much of certain franchises before you need a break. Actually, I still like the Mario Kart on the Wii, and I think it's a good game. I still like the Smash on the Wii, I think it's a good game. I still like the Zelda on the Wii, I think it's a good game. How different are these games actually becoming? The answer is a bit. I mean, obviously the new Zelda game looks breathtaking. It really does look good. But they're still going to be pretty similar, and there has to be some more variety that comes in. And to me, the thing that will make or break the systems is whether the third-party companies can actually make use of the technology. Are they actually bothered with it? The funny thing about the Wii is it worked because it was really, really novel. The Wiimotes were fantastic. But actually, I think that until very late on, people didn't really manage to make use of that technology very well. Until they released the Wii Motion Plus, and you had games like Red Steel 2 and the new Zelda game, and the re-released Wii Sports or Sports Resort. A lot of Wiimote stuff was just reduced to standard crappy waggling, and it often felt like the companies were tagging it on at the end, like, oh crap, we've got to use this Wiimote somehow, how about we just chuck in this waggling thing? And if that's the way that it's going to be treated, it's gonna spoil it. It's just going to be, here's this novel thing, the Switch. Here's having like an iPad thing that's also a console. Yeah, fine, but is there actually any point to having that? Are companies actually going to use that in an interesting way? I mean, that was the hope with the Wii U, and it really didn't work. I don't know how many, but there are very few games, I think, on the Wii U that actually used the pad and the screen thing well. And furthermore, this is actually more a console system where you can play the games on the pad. I'm not so sure if there's going to be interaction between pad and the thing. So, well, that kind of asks you, what do you want the system for? Because I want the console to be the console, and I already have a laptop which I can move around, and a 3DS. And for those of us who've got 3DSs, it's just kind of like, well, the 3DS is already powerful enough, it's already pretty damn good. And it also lasts for a while, is small, is easily transportable. They're fulfilling different roles. I don't think that I'm going to want to... I mean, I love Skyrim, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I'm going to want to play a 720p Skyrim on the way to work or whatever, or on a train. These are very immersive games, but it's different designing a game for a handheld than having console games that are playable on a handheld device. Those are two different things. There's an art style to designing a handheld game, and the 3DS games, yes, of course there are some similarities, but I think that there is a specialism there where the games are sort of adapted and designed to work well on that device and make use of it. So what are companies going to do? Are they just going to make a console game that can be used on a pad, or are they going to take this into account and try and come up with things that make it specific to having a portable device? I really don't know, and I'm kind of skeptical. But I think the big clincher for me is like with the Wii U, a terrible lineup of games. So few games that I'm interested in. Yeah, the new Zelda's obviously one, but very little else. And if I was a Wii U owner, I'd feel pretty pissed right now. I mean, just not an old system, and it's just changing. It's just like, okay, we've had enough of that system now. We're moving on. Well, that's not great, really, is it? If I bought that system, I'd be feeling pretty damn miffed that things were just being taken away and then a new system was coming out. I'm not a big fan of the fact that the PS4's now got a PS4 Pro and you've got this multiple tiered system, but that's better than a complete change to new hardware. I mean, like, what the hell? I had a bad feeling about the Wii U because there weren't enough titles, and I'm maybe a bit cautious with my systems, but there's no reason to plunge in there at day one with this system, especially not given what happened with the Wii U. I think we need to sit tight, see where the third-party support lies, see what comes out, and also wait for the bloody price to drop. It's not graphically as good as a PS4. You can get a PS4 for cheaper, and it's got a lot better games, so I really don't think anyone should be rushing in there, unless you're a massive fanboy and you just want new tech. I mean, fine, you want new tech. But I don't see any reason for that kind of rushed approach, to be honest. I'm going to sit tight and wait. I honestly just think that the Wii is still a great system. There's still a ton of games on there. Have you really played through the entire Wii library that you need to get a Wii U and then a Switch? I think make do and mend, as they say. That's just my 2 pence. Other thing I want to do is a video response, really to Bangkok Ian, but that was a video response of his to, I think it was Gamer Dad. Anyway, I'll post a link to the respective channels below. Basically saying, do we ever grow out of video games? I think this question has gone around before, are video games childish? Can you ever be too old to game, and all these different kind of things. But it's an interesting question, is it? Do you think we ever grow out of video games? And I guess I've recently just turned 30. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit like I'm getting along in the years now. I'm not really, but turning 30 is a weird transition point. It's like, in my head when I was younger, I imagined that once I was 30, I'd have everything in my life sorted out. Like, I'd know where I'm going, everything would be set, there'd be no more anxiety issues and anything else. And actually, I still feel like I'm just muddling along and haven't got a bloody clue. And actually, I think that my answer is that it's actually the exact opposite. It's not only that we're not growing out of video games, but I'd say that I'm actively trying to reverse the process of growing up. I'm trying to grow more and more into video games rather than grow out of them. Life is really stressful. I've had a lot of issues recently with stress at work and difficulty with adult life. I think I barely managed to get by day to day as an adult. And video games are kind of like a rebellion against that. In some small way, I can escape from the real world, and I can try and turn the clock back and go back in time, and basically I just want to feel like I did when I was in my nana's living room playing on my PS1 for hours on end. I want to feel invincible and invulnerable and young and somewhere else, and video games are a big distraction that allow me to do that. And actually, the older that I get and the more tired, jaded, anxious, whatever else I get, the more I want that link to the past, pardon the video game pun, the more I want that link to the past. And so that's probably why retro video games especially are really important to me. I guess the other slant to that question though is, is it possible for us to get tired of certain types of video games and franchise? And this ties into the Nintendo Switch really well, because yes, I think it is. Will the excitement for Zelda, Smash Bros, Metroid last forever? That's an interesting question. I mean, the franchises are so strong that it probably will, but maybe I'm a little bit less excitable than I would have been in the past now about the new Zelda. Maybe I'm I've seen enough Zelda games to be happy with the ones that I've got. Maybe that impact factor is slowly lessening over time. I think the number of times you're exposed to something, maybe, for some of us it could get a little bit more boring, but actually on the whole, Mario is still really exciting, and it's impossible not to feel the hype for a new Mario game. It's just because the franchise is so strong and it has that nostalgic pull. I don't think we'll ever sort of grow out or grow tired of those kind of franchises. It's just not possible. So yeah, it's an interesting question, that one, and I don't see any way that I would grow out of it. Maybe I think sometimes I get a little bit tired of some of the sickly sweet games. I guess when I was a kid I would appreciate a game that was easy. But actually, as the older I get, the more I actually appreciate a challenge now. So in a sense, maybe your taste matures a little bit. Maybe I want games that are a little bit more taxing, more adult, not necessarily in a saucy way, but more of a in-depth challenge that will keep me going. Paper Mario on the Wii was a game that I tried to play, and it's very nicely stylized, but I got bored of and I stopped because it was just too easy. It's like really childishly easy. I guess maybe in a sense I've grown out of those kind of games that are too soft. I don't know. Anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts about the various things that I've talked about, so feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below and check out the channels that I've talked about. Take care guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.